COVID, where you had lots more, the judiciary was listening to you a lot more. We were petitioning and filing motions in order for the jury pool to be bigger because COVID impacted the jury pools. And then at the same time, I know one of the defense attorneys here was doing like a, was the Bingo Hall murders. And he filed all these motions in order to make sure that the clerk of court was, because that's who pulls the jury pool, made sure that they were as diverse as possible. And so there are things that come into play, but honestly, I shouldn't have to fight that hard to have a diverse pool. It's not that hard.
Right.
You pull from driver's licenses and registered voters. Just give me a diverse pool. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, and when you look around Horry County, we're a diverse county.
Right.
So, you walk into a store and it's not 90% white people and 2 black people. But when you call a jury pool for some reason, that's what shows up.
I remember after the Bennett trial that we had, I was all like hopped up on like civil justice, and not that I'm not always, but of what civic duty really looks like. And I begged a reporter to do a story. I was like, will you please do a story on how important it is for everybody to be represented in a jury pool and to please take show up for jury duty and don't try to get out, because it really matters. It really, really matters. And he was like, there's nothing sexy about that.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. My daughter, as part of one of her college classes, she had to go sit in general sessions and observe it. And so she was there for what happened to be a murder trial. And she sat through opening arguments and then had to sit through a couple witnesses and mark down her thoughts in order to share with her professor. And so, I like to ask the layperson. I told her, asked her, tell me what she thought about it. And one of the things that she said was, Mama, the defendant was black, and there was one black person on the entire jury. And she said, and as I sat there and I looked at that jury, I felt like he wasn't going to get a fair shake of it. And then she made her comments about, the statement, the defense or whatever. But, and I said, look,
she's probably right.
You're seeing that, and she said, he's accused of killing a young white boy as well. And so she was like, I just feel like the way that they were looking, it was like they weren't even going to give him a chance, And I said, okay. And, it's me trying to push her
heart.
But when they say like racism is systemic, it's because of that. Because the jury pool does not reflect the diversity of the community. And so it starts there. And that's why people say the system.
Yeah.
It's
representation really matters.
So yeah.
And you don't even realize
selection's big.
I think, for us, because I got into I remember getting into it, like really me and my dad butting heads pretty hard because he couldn't see past his own experience, you know what I mean? And I started like giving him examples of things that I've seen in court that like the majority of the world would never see, of, this is what racism looks like up close and personal, like for me. And these are the things that I see. And this is why, like, I know that judges, I drive them crazy because I insert myself into a lot of cases that a lot of cases. We all do. But like, I'm like the volunteer public defender sometimes. I'm like, I'll talk to them. They don't want to do that. I want to put my 2 cents in. But we see these things happen. And people don't even realize that it's going on. They don't want to believe that it happens because they can't see, just like my dad couldn't see past his own experience. And so when I sat down and he really listened to me and I explained, like, these are the things that I've seen just this week, it's hard to wrap your mind around. And it really blew his mind. It's kind of like when I saw a congressman arguing that he's never seen a hungry child before.
Geez, that was the worst thing I've ever read.
And I was like, oh.
Have you left your house?
Right. And I'm like, no, there are hungry people. There are hungry children, and they are all around us. You just have to open your eyes to see them. But it's that kind of mentality that you can't see past your own experience. And we see it in the court system up close and personal, not just with defendants, but in family court with children and abused children and victims. And it's so important to talk about because if we don't talk about it, we can't change it.
Yeah, because I think that, even as Amy and I could go sit on an all-white jury and we would be like, we can absolutely totally be fair here. Like, we're going to be fair to this black man on trial.
Yeah.
But when you have 12 white people with no other experience than white people, which is what we are, you're missing that anyway. So that's why it's the system. You know, you look at each individual person as Amy's dad's not a bad person, that's his experience.
And sometimes even it's just, you know, a knowledge about an area. You know, one of the first cases that I tried when we were, you know, alleging that the alleged victim was in an area where she was dating, she had a child with the defendant. And, you know, part of it was that she's making these allegations because really they're in a family court suit. And by making these allegations of domestic violence, she wins, right? But you came up to General Sessions, you came up to the criminal floor, you didn't come to the family court floor. And so what we're trying is a criminal case and not a family court case, you know? But one of the things that really mattered in the case was about the area that she came to, which she came to the recreation center where he played basketball every day, that was across the street from his grandmama's house in the black community that she was not a part of, and came with the child and then said, nope, you can't see the child. And so at the end of presenting the case, when the case actually went to the jury, one of the alternates was a black woman. And so when it went back to the jury, they relieved her as an alternate. And I just ran out in the hallway, caught her and said, hey, if you don't mind, would you tell me what you would have decided? And she had told me that she would have said not guilty. And I said to her, okay, well, why? And what she said was, I'm from that community. I know that area. I know where she was. She didn't live there. You guys told me she lived 30 minutes away. That's not the community she lives in. She had no reason to be there. And she said, and I know that building. And if she had felt like she was in danger, she could have called out and people would have come running. And I know that. That is why we need diversity.
Those different perspectives.
Right.
Because otherwise you don't have that person in that room to tell everybody else and give the Amy and Sarah's knowledge about that area. Otherwise we have no idea.
Yeah. So
I love that you told that story and puts it in perspective. Well, we went down a different rabbit hole for
Sorry, guys.
Did
not see this one coming.
But
I'm sorry.
important.
Sorry.
But I feel like that all of that, even just the knowledge of jury selection in general and how important it is to serve on jury.
Please.
Yeah.
Show up for jury.
And don't try to get out of it.
No.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would put me on a jury. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
I like literally live for the moment that somebody will put me on a jury.
I know. Every time my friends like, I've got jury duty, I'm like, you're going to jury duty and you need to be there and you need to pay attention.
I would like to serve,
One of the highest things that you can do, your civic duty, is to show up.
Yeah.
It so matters. Representation matters. Show up. Be active and present and participate because it really matters.
I love it. All right, ladies, thank you guys so much for watching today. Again, we'll keep you updated on Letitia Stotch. That is set to start this coming week for trial. So we'll keep you updated on that. As always, please let us know if you have questions, comments, if there's a story that you want us to chat about on the next episode, or a topic that you aren't sure about that you'd like us to cover, just let us know. We'd be happy to do that. You can visit us online at justiceslovely.com. Also, we're on all of your social media channels, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching the Carolina Justice Report today, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
When life gets ugly, justice is